We have a really crazy and interesting story about AEW and the type of contracts they might be giving out to their OGs. Guys, we're going to talk about it in today's video. Also, we're going to talk about Arya Daivari, AEW, and we are going to talk about an Impact wrestler star who is pushing to go to New Japan Pro Wrestling, and this is why the Forbidden Door is so awesome. If you guys want more wrestling news videos, my name is Ango. Click that subscribe button and ring the bell for more. So we are going to talk about Steve Macklin. You guys might remember him from WWE when he was on the Forgotten Sons. And honestly, I have been praising the living shit out of this because Steve Macklin has been absolutely dominant since coming to Impact Wrestling. And honestly, I give them a lot of props. If you guys don't know who Steve Macklin is, he was formerly known as Steve Cutler in WWE, somebody who nobody really knew. And it's actually really sad because he went to Impact and now he has just been doing some really incredible stuff, really good matches, and he's actually getting to show us like who he is. And this is something I've always praised Impact about. Impact tends to do really well with making you care about wrestlers that you typically wouldn't care about. And that's something that I think they do very well. Now, what's really interesting is he was talking to RJ on Ringside Rant, and he has revealed that he's been in talks with New Japan. I'm going to get to why this is a good thing. But he did say, I am signed to Impact Wrestling, but it is open to work elsewhere. I would just have to go through Impact. I have been in talks to try and get over to New Japan because that is one of my goals. Obviously, with COVID and all that, once that opens up more over there, we all talk in the locker room and find out what's going on over there and how things are changing and just being patient. I'm in no rush. I'm very happy with what I'm doing right now. There's no overexposure. That's one thing in wrestling. A lot of fans for a long time were getting that overexposure to wrestlers that you see the same guy over and over again. And he's absolutely incredibly right. Keep in mind, Macklin and Jonathan Gresham are going to go head-to-head on Impact Wrestling for the ROH World Championship, which should be a really good match. In fact, it's actually been pre-taped, but there was a lot of people in the crowd who said this match was really good, and you should tune into it. But this is why the Forbidden Door is so incredibly important to wrestling, especially a company like Impact, because Impact has great wrestlers on their roster, but they don't hold them captive. And these are guys that have not been given an opportunity in WWE. And these are people who I think, when they put on these good matches, right, to this audience, I think more people want to see that. They want to see those good matches. They want to see dream matches. And they want to see matches that you don't expect to be good because you don't think it's going to be a matchup because you don't know who they are. But then eventually they have that match and then it becomes a major match. And I think that's exactly what's happening with Steve Macklin. Him going to New Japan is great. Impact in general, their relationship with NJPW is just really incredible stuff. And now look, we got Bullet Club, we got GOD, we got so many great things happening on Impact. And a lot of people don't even know this because they're too busy judging Impact from like 2010 or whatever. So, my point to this is Impact working with other companies is great for wrestling, but also what type of matchups are we going to see with Steve Macklin in New Japan? And that's something that intrigues me because, to be honest with you, I didn't know he was a good wrestler in WWE. WWE did not show us that he was a good wrestler. He did not show us he was a good wrestler in NXT. But then all of a sudden he goes to Impact and he's having great matches with freaking Trey Miguel and Jonathan Gresham. So again, it's a big win for pro wrestling. Another win for pro wrestling is Arya Daivari, because if you guys didn't know, Arya Daivari had debuted in AEW before on Rampage. There was a lot of good, positive talk about the match that he had with Dante Martin, and now AEW has invited him back for AEW Dark. He's going to go up against Alan Angels from Dark Order, and I'm very intrigued to see this match, actually. I really am a big fan of Arya Daivari, and I know it's a really difficult conversation to have right now. Right? AEW has signed so many people, and you guys know I have mixed feelings about who and how they sign people, but ultimately at the end of the day, we don't know if Arya Daivari is signed to AEW, and I have a very strong feeling that, him signing with AEW probably would be met with criticism, and I totally understand that, but I talked about New Japan, right? And we know Arya Daivari is doing NJPW strong, and then we have Impact, which Arya Daivari, for all we know, has not had talks with them or has not revealed to be in talks with them. But when you look at AEW, NJPW, and Impact having such great rosters and this Forbidden Door being open, I want to see all three of them work together to produce a major pay-per-view, because then at that point, you can have guys like Arya Daivari, you can have guys like Tony Nese. Maybe they're not going to be on these full-time major contracts with AEW, but they're going to be able to appear. I don't know. I just think they need to come together because there's not enough TV time for AEW. There's not enough TV time for Impact. And now NJPW is coming back to Access TV in America, which is great, but we got to figure out a way to get everybody on TV, because Arya Daivari coming back, it's great. It's happening on AEW Dark. But if I'm predicting this, I don't think he's going to win. I don't think Arya Daivari is in any sort of AEW plans, but AEW is bringing him in, which is a cool thing because obviously it's work. But at the same time, too, if this wasn't on Dark, he would be taken away from other people. Do you guys get where I'm going with this? Nonetheless, it's a very interesting story, but it actually segues into our final story of the day, which are these new AEW contracts that are being given out, apparently. And it's a really weird situation. We don't have confirmation from AEW because AEW hasn't necessarily talked about this, but there is major speculation online that AEW specifically, instead of releasing the talent, instead of firing the talent that they had originally signed to them. So guys like Joey Janela, QT Marshall, Peter Avalon, right? There's so many other names, Sonny Kiss. There is this belief going around that AEW's new contracts will actually not be full-time deals anymore. So for some of these people that they don't want to necessarily get rid of, but they don't necessarily want to have a guaranteed contract, AEW is rumored to be going away from these guaranteed contracts. And the belief is that AEW is essentially giving them what they would be called per appearance deals, which is very similar to what we see, with people going on Dark, right? It's a nice little handshake deal. Hey, come in, work this match, we'll pay you. And that is kind of this belief that's circulating with AEW right now. And I understand that some people might have an issue with this. And I've always talked about in the past that guaranteed contracts are great. But also from a business perspective, guys like QT Marshall, right? Peter Avalon, right? Joey Janela, these people are not insignificant programs on AEW Dynamite. So if you're not trying to get rid of them, but you want to keep them and you want to be in good graces with them, it totally makes sense to not sign them to a fully guaranteed contract, yet giving them per appearance. And this would make sense considering that all of these wrestlers in AEW all of a sudden are now taking indie dates, right? Hey, you could work for AEW. We got you on per appearance. The door is always open. Keep your phone on. We'll call you when we need you, but go ahead and work other places. And I think business-wise, spending-wise, that could be a really good decision for AEW in the long run versus AEW just paying a whole bunch of people a shit ton of money with no plans to actually use them. And that right there is a pretty massive deal. So yes, these new contracts are very interesting. Yes, I'm very curious to see what AEW reveals, when more information comes out, but time will tell. And, if this is the way AEW is doing business, I have no problem with it, despite the fact that there's no guarantees that these people are there. Because at the end of the day, it is what it is. It's a business. You got to run your business. You got to be smart about your money. And on top of that, you have to be very careful. You can't just be giving guys money just to sit there and do nothing, because that's what WWE was doing. And look at all of you now who hate WWE for signing absolutely everybody. But what happened? You hated WWE when they signed everybody. Then WWE releases everybody, and you hate WWE even more. And that could be the same exact thing that happens to AEW. However, this tells me that won't be an issue for AEW because you're not making guarantees. And that is what I like about it. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. As always, I keep you updated 7 days a week on everything happening in pro wrestling. My name is Ango. I will see you next time.